Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about Across the Spider-Verse and all this drama with the artists. And this is one of those cases where we actually do side with the artists. I think they were really overworked making this movie, but studios don't care. Yeah, that's the thing. They just now. I think there's been some talk they might push the sequel back a couple of years. And I'm sure that's for multiple reasons, but the backlash definitely is part of it. But beyond that, Spider-Verse made so much money, I think that the artists might be in the catbird seat this time.
Yeah.
They might be able to actually get the change.
Well, they did really well the first time.
Yeah.
And it won, it was up for awards, won awards. They should have had better, conditions this time around anyway.
And it made a lot of money. At the end of the day, they don't really care about what kind of awards the movie won. It's a marketing tool. It's how much money did it make, and Spider-Verse is killing it. They should probably be able to get what they want. But we're going to talk about this conversation about possibly being pushed back, and apparently Amy Pascal from Sony just kind of like being
tough. Not help.
Tough shit, everybody. This is what you get. You work in animation. She's right and wrong at the same time. So we'll talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
So yeah, let's go out here to the AV Club first. There's been a lot of talk about this. We're kind of late to the party here, but it did beat The Flash and Elemental this weekend. Spider-Verse was #1 this weekend again. And again, that should give them, if they're looking for better working conditions, the amount of money that this thing is making should at least let the studios be like, yeah, we should let them have another year or whatever.
What's interesting to me is the endless requests for, edits and stuff sounds like what we were hearing from the VFX workers on Marvel stuff too.
Yeah.
And that it seems like these directors and stuff don't understand. Well, in this case, it wasn't a director. It was somebody over top of them who had more power than they were. They don't understand the process, I don't think.
Yeah, you would think though, this is Lord and Miller. These are the
Lord,
these are the guys who, I guess they worked on Clone High too. But these are the guys who did the Lego movie, so they should understand, that process. And they were fired off of Solo too, so I don't know. But I said most of the animators that were interviewed for, I think it was Vulture, they stated they were fans of Lord's work and the film overall. There was a repeated refrain that the Clone High co-creators' preference for making editing decisions on the basis of completed footage, including making writing and story changes after seeing how a finished sequence played out, as opposed to working from less fully finished versions of the shots, create a large amount of additional work for people beneath him. So this is the thing. Usually with CGI, especially, they kind of have like a rough cut with like PS1 looking graphics. Because once you finish that thing, once you render it, and it's like hours and hours and hours and hours to do that, and then to go back and do it again, it's like, oh my god!
Yeah, it's crap. I don't care how many animation stuff. Then it's actually less than an excuse for this person. Like, there's no excuse for this.
There are a lot of artists affected by one change.
Yes.
One artist said, imagine an endless stream of them. Multiple animators also said Spider-Verse had a bottleneck in its early production as Lord worked with the film's directors on layouts, leaving numerous artists hired for the project idle and watching with trepidation as the film's deadlines and the attendant deluge
All the
of
work that, was going to hit them at once.
Got moved closer. So this happens a lot in comics too. And I understand in an ideal world that would never happen. But... and I hate to be like callous about it because I've been on the receiving end of that, especially if you're working in comics, you're working in production, you're working as like the letterer or the colorist. You are like the last person to get the product.
And we need it like tomorrow.
And then we need it tomorrow. Like, so the deadline for the whole project might be like the middle of March. And everybody started in September of last year. But by the time they got done pissing around with it, and it comes to you,
people got done tweeting on Twitter to go actually do their work.
Right. Then you get it like a week before deadline, when normally you should have had it a month or two before deadline, had plenty of time.
And then it's on you to get it done.
Yes.
And that happened. I can tell you that happened.
That's happened to me multiple times. That's why I don't work in mainstream comics anymore, by the way. And it tends to happen with a lot of people. But in this case, we're talking like a much, much bigger deal with so many more people involved. And this happened with Sonic the Hedgehog too. There were complaints about that. But they said artists were working 11-hour days, 7 days a week. Ultimately, the sources quoted in the piece said that roughly 100 animators departed Spider-Verse out of the 1,000 or so that Sony has said it hired for the film. As for the producers, they pushed back many of the assertions in the article. Amy Pascal said that one of the things about animation that makes it such a wonderful thing to work on is you get to keep going until the story is right. So this brings us over to the Mary Sue. And they said it was a really...
Look, I agree with Mary Sue on something.
Yeah, I actually agree with the Mary Sue. That it was kind of a dick response to...
It was.
You know, them saying, hey, we have problems. So here's what she said. Yeah, they said one of the things about animation is that you work on it until the story's right. If the story isn't right, you have to keep going until it is. I guess, welcome to making a movie. It's a shockingly callous and dismissive response to allegations of the artist. Now, this is not just like one or two people having problems. This is like the entire staff is like, it didn't work. Now, the flip side is they're going to look at and be like, well, the movie did very well critically and commercially. So clearly our way is the best way of doing it.
Right, but they can, and I understand tweaking some things, but if it's to the place where it's causing people that much of a hassle, you're going to have to figure it out before you finalize it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think Disney cracks the whip as hard on their people. I mean, a lot of times they'll push movies back. Walt was, at least in the early films, he was like, it gets released when it's done, when it's ready. And he worked very closely with his animators. Now, there were grueling deadlines, but not to the extent, because he was, the first 5 movies especially, he was making art. Mm-hmm. And people were burnt out. It's like, you're not going to get the best product. But now this is a product. We got to release it by a certain date because we got to make the shareholders happy and we got to make our executives happy and we got to make, so product. Now, this is where, unfortunately, AI comes into the conversation because with more artists complaining about the poor working conditions or not being able to make changes on the fly, what is going to happen, not now because it's not there yet, but 10 years from now is, well, okay, fine. Then we'll let the AI pre-visualize the movie we want, and then you guys can come in and tweak it. Mm-hmm. Or it could even get to the point where the AI, if you've got a guy that's just doing the layouts himself, the AI actually just kind of like makes the whole movie, and then you just kind of,
on the flip side, it could be a place where like we need this thing changed, we need this parts of the thing changed. The AI could come in, change those couple parts, and it wouldn't be 11-hour work week on other people. They still have to do the main stuff. Yeah. So there's that too. I mean, I guess, but it's just what they're going to do to it. It's going to be, you guys complain too much. We overwork you, and you're mad about it, and you're going to complain. So we'll just find somebody to replace you. And right now, they're a dime a dozen to replace people because people are looking to get in and they'll take whatever works.
That's what people
comics.
Yeah, that's what people don't understand, and that's kind of why I think a lot of the arts don't pay that well because
that's why they look at you. They look at you. You're a dime a dozen.
Yeah, you're always
right or wrong.
You're always competing with somebody who will work cheaper because to them anything's better than working retail. So
even if you make more money working retail?
Even if they make more money working retail, they're like, I went to school and I've seen so many young artists, early 20s, even early 30s. They're like, as long as I get paid for my art, I'm a success because I got to explain to my parents why I went to art school or something. You know what I'm saying? And they would actually make more money doing literally anything else, but they have to feel like they're validated. I am an artist because I'm getting paid. I'm getting to work on a high profile project. Right. And they will a lot of times undercut themselves just to get in there.
Because the validation's worth more money to them. And sadly, like I said, they look at people like you're a dime a dozen. Same with comics. We see it with comics all the time.
Oh, yeah.
People would come in. Why are the people there that are there? Because they'd work cheap.
They work cheap. I mean, you've got editors at Marvel that are working for $30,000 a year in Manhattan. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's not even sustainable and like, I don't even know how many roommates you'd have to have, where you'd even live. You'd have to probably have roommates in Jersey and then just commute. I have no idea, but you've got so many people that are willing to work on the cheap. But yeah, they said that 6 months of indecision and demands to redo finished work 5 times.
Yeah, see that I totally agree with the artist on this one. I don't care what projects that Phil Lord's worked on. I think that Phil Lord needs to understand that not everybody can just snap their fingers and fix it. He should know this by now. That's what I
understand. The guy worked on the Lego Movie, and he should understand. Now I don't know where off the top of my head where the Lego Movie was animated. I don't know if it was animated overseas. Maybe I have no idea. But it is a very interesting situation that this is coming up, and again, this movie made bank. So I think that if there's going to be some bargaining power, they're going to have it, because they'll be like, hey, just let's do our thing and we'll give you a really good movie. It might be a year or two later, but it's going to make
and
bank.
you can't make them as quickly as you can live action. And there's something about that. They said that the real kicker is executives' gleeful admission that these conditions exist across the board. Oh, it looks like it everywhere. So
yeah, I mean, and again, I'm torn, because I get people need to understand that rework is part of it. It does happen, but
I think
they're
they
talking
know
about
that,
egregious.
Five times, same thing, 5 times.
And I ran to that. I worked as a freelance graphic designer, web developer for years. I did that too. I've done a lot of things because I'm old. I've had time to do a lot of things. But I would run to clients that did not understand, like, when you sign off on a project, it's done. When it's going to the printer, it's done. When it's burned onto a disk, it's done. You can't like go back and just tweak it whenever. And then you always get the people that are like, well, my nephew, he's got, whatever the cheapest Adobe thing is. He can just throw something together like that too. Why are you charging so much? After
go hire your nephew.
After they put you through, and I've had clients like after they put you through maybe 200 hours of hell, they're like, yeah, I think your bill's really high because I don't understand. And I've had clients like, you've been there. Mm-hmm. It's like, I think you're gouging me. It's like, no, this is literally what the time, and I told you what my hourly rate was, and this is what it is, and this is the bill, and I actually cut you a break. So shut the fuck up and pay me. Mm-hmm. So I've been there. But so now they're saying that the thing might get pushed back. Now, this is not a real, this cannot be a real letter. I tried to find it. Tokustar posted this, but they basically said that they're going to push it back to 2026 because the studio made very poor decisions, poor management, and issues inside the studio. That they would never put that out. They'd never put that out. But it is being rumored that they're going to push the movie back to 2026, and that could be a number of reasons. The writer's strike could be part of it too.
Yeah, that could be part of it.
And they might have to reevaluate how they handle it. And it could just be that all the animators are like, you know what, we're not doing this again.
They can't find enough people to work to do it because people don't want to work with you anymore.
No, because the word's out now that it's hell. And, but again, this movie is making so much money. They, in this case, unlike the writer's strike, which we've talked about, in this case, these guys might actually have the collective bargaining power to be like, there's not going to be another Spider-Verse movie until you give us more damn time to get it done right. And we will give you a fantastic film, but we need another year or two.
And you have to know what you want, at least somewhat. I mean, you can't have them finish it, render it, fully finish it, and then be like, yeah, we're changing this, and this. Like, you need to do it sooner than that.
Yeah, they said there's no way Beyond the Spider-Verse releases next year. The only progress that's been made so far on the third one is any exploration or tests that were done before the movie was split into 2 parts. So it's basically a 5-hour movie, split into 2 parts. But yeah, I don't see it coming next year. 2026 is probably likely. I don't know. I actually, in this particular case, I actually wish him good luck.
Yeah, and I side with the animators here.
Side with them on that. So we'll see what happens, but the movie's still making ridiculous money, and it could go either way.
In this case is a case where I think unions would, when they do unions and stuff for this. I agree.
Egregious abuse of working conditions. I agree with unionization. Versus
they do have unions for this stuff though.
Yeah. But versus like the writer's strike, where they wanted to make sure that they had 20 or more people in the writer's room, and they had to have a certain makeup of ethnicities and stuff.
Or I was thinking, was it Image that was like our secretarial staff and that one
secretarial
to
staff
decide what books get printed.
Yes, the guy who makes the copies in the office has to decide whether or not we want to publish this book because its creator might be problematic.
And we don't like them.
It's
anyway, please wrap this up.
We're wrapping this up, so please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.
Help support the channel. Go to thereef.support and get early access to podcasts, videos, and other content. That's thereef.support.